Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another Real Madrid review. Real Madrid 3, Almería 2. A lot to digest and dissect after what was not a dramatic, not just an entertaining game. Because if I say to you that if you didn't watch the game, it was an entertaining game, you would be like, okay. And then you would go and watch the highlights and you would be like, are you kidding me? Because entertaining is an understatement to describe that game. Because that game was wild. That game was probably the craziest match I've watched of Real Madrid in a long time. And obviously it's a slightly earlier kickoff for me, so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna stay up just a slightly bit, to watch that game. And you know what we got. I mean, wow. Of course, a lot to talk about in terms of the performance and what went down in the game. But we have to start off with the goals, right? And the first goal from Ramazani proves the number one thing I'm going to talk about, which is why Real Madrid must sign a centre back in the January transfer window. I don't care if it is Rafael Varane for 6 months. I don't care if it is signing Goncalo Inacio from Sporting. I don't care if it's a loan deal from some random club. We need bodies. It's not about having the best centre back in the world right now, because let's not forget that Alaba and Militao will eventually come back and be the starters. But I mean, I know Nacho is the main guy. He's been here since he was a kid, and he's been here for 20 years of his life. He's born, he's bleed, he's cried, he's laughed all his life Real Madrid. But those two goals were his fault. That first goal was just absolutely horrendous. Where was he trying to pass it to? I know he was trying to pass it to Mendy, but that pass was weak. He got intercepted, and they break. And when they break with space, because Carvajal was playing in this right wing position to start. And he pushed very high and wasn't able to track back to deny Ramazani. And it's a simple finish. You can't blame Kepa for that. Okay, maybe he should have done better, I agree. But it's combination of Nacho's poor pass, Mendy's poor reading of the game, and Carvajal pushing high, and Kepa's inability to stop a shot that realistically should have been stopped. It's down to all of these little small errors that leads to that first goal within 40 seconds. I mean, that's crazy, considering within less than a minute in the game. And then you would think that Real Madrid will go and push for an equalizing goal and in search, but we weren't seeing that. And I'll get up to that performance later on. But the first 45 minutes was the most boring, dead 45 I've seen Real Madrid put up this whole season. Like, I have not seen a worse 45 minutes. We've seen games against Atletico twice, and we've seen certain games where we've been struggling, but I've not seen a worse 45 minutes from Real Madrid in a very long time. I'm talking probably since, that 4-0 defeat to Man City, or maybe that 4-0 defeat to Barcelona, or, maybe even last season, the games against Barcelona. That first 45 was shambolic, okay? And the second goal was majestic from Edger. Again, it's Nacho. He tries to clear the ball, it goes to Edgar, and it's a first time volley, it's a first time strike, which is perfectly placed into the top corner. Let's give him credit. But Nacho. And I get why he got taken off at half time for, realistically, if you look at it, probably, you know, right to say that Brahim or Joselu was the one who replaced him, because Tchouaméni went to centre back, and then Fran Garcia came on and left back, and then Rodrigo came off as well. I thought the triple change at halftime for Ancelotti was a mastermind, and it worked into perfection when you look at how it ended up, and it changed the game in the second half. But that goal was incredible, and you have to give credit to Almería for that. Second half, the first 15 minutes or so really looked sharp from Real Madrid. I would say that Fran Garcia was the change that we needed, and the change that really, really changed the game, because down the left hand side, Mendy was really staying back, and we know that with Mendy that he's a defensive left back. He's not going to score or assist or create. With Fran Garcia, he likes bombing forward, and against a team like Almería playing a low block, you want to have that. So I was glad that Fran Garcia came on in the 45th minute at halftime. Really changed the game. That penalty call, I think, is the first of many. In fact, it was the first. Was it a foul? I do think that you could say that it may not be a foul. You know, you could have your own opinions about it, but personally, and I know you could say it's biased, right? And maybe it is. But you look at the cross that came in, Jose Luman had a touch to it, it flicked off the hand. I think that's a penalty. And Bellingham takes the penalty, he scores, okay. However, the second goal I'm really confused about, Vinicius Junior's goal. Because no one knows what the handball rule is. No one knows if you score a goal or you deny a goal, which part of your arm is considered hand and which part is considered a shoulder. For me, I really thought that would have been offside, and I really, if I was an Almería fan, I would be mad about the second goal. Because for me, if Almería got that, or I see any game as a neutral, I would say that's a handball. And that is definitely a handball. I'm not sure why the referee gave it, but for me, that is a handball, personally. And to wrap it up, to get the late winner, you know, 90th plus 9 minutes. I mean, wow. Crossing to the box, Bellingham's headed to the far post, and Carvajal is there. And that just shows you this remontada, you know, this comeback, this never back down, this fight that Real Madrid seem to have. And it really proved it. It really, really did. Some decisions that, like I said, were controversial before we get into the actual game. That first penalty call, was it a penalty? Obviously, they had a goal disallowed. Arribas. Who was it? It was Lopi, who basically slapped Bellingham in the face. And then they scored, but it was disallowed. And then obviously the handball goal. I think these three decisions are really gonna be controversial. And of course, let's talk about this. Bellingham gonna miss the next game with accumulated yellow cards. He's gonna miss the next game against Las Palmas away, which is gonna be a big game. It's gonna be a tough one for him to miss. But again, let him obviously have the rest, because he's gonna obviously have, was it 5 days of rest until Las Palmas, and then another 3-4 days. So he's gonna have about 9 days of rest from now until the next game against Getafe. So it's glad to see him get some rest, because if not for that yellow, he would have been playing again and again and again. Performance wise, like I said, first 45 was there. And you look at the first 45 minutes and you look at the team, there was no urgency, there was no need to push, there was no need to go and win the ball or counter or press. There was no need for any of those. And the only player I could say maybe in the first 45 minutes that I thought was actually maybe not as bad as the rest was Antonio Rudiger. Apart from that, you look at the starting 11, everyone else was as bad. And, you know, Rudiger didn't even play, I thought, the first 45 minutes that well. But I could see something in Rudiger that was the passion. And that's what you get with Rudiger. That's what you get with Rudiger every game. Win, lose or draw, you get that with Rudiger. Like I said, the subs changed the game. Fran Garcia definitely changed the game. But also Brahim Diaz. You know, he's a very unique type of player. You know, pacey, fast, good dribbler. He changed the game. Joselu as well added a number 9 in the box, added a physical option, added a threat in the box because Rodrigo simply wasn't working. You know, you look at the first 45 minutes, it was almost like he was doing what he was meant to do. Because we didn't know if he was gonna, you know, be on the left or on the right. Because realistically, if we have both Vini and Rodrigo on the left, who's gonna be on the right? No one. And that's another issue. Look at the first half, everyone was on the left or in the middle. It was Carvajal alone on the right. And that's why Brahim and Fran Garcia and Joselu came on. To allow Carvajal to not push all the way forward, to let Brahim stay there, to let Joselu be the target man, so that we have a structure, we have a spine, we have an identity of what we're doing. Because in the first 45 we didn't. We were running around like headless chickens. Like, Rodrigo was everywhere, Carvajal was everywhere, Vinicius was everywhere, Bellingham was everywhere. And after the subs, in the half time, and after the team talk, you saw a structure, you saw a style of play, and you saw finally the connections, the combinations, the 1-2s, the football came back. And that is, I think, the part that we need to figure out, really, as to why we couldn't produce that in the first 45. Why, when we kicked the ball and kicked off, and the ball was kicked, that Real Madrid had to switch off from minute 1, and then Nacho gives away 2 goals, and then obviously then from there we had to go and win in a kind of controversial way. Why couldn't we start off playing well? Why did it take Brahim, Fran Garcia, Joselu to come on to change the game? And in Ceballos, I thought played a good second half as well. I thought he made a good impact, and then Camavinga, of course, coming on last 10 minutes or so, you know, obviously didn't do a lot, but added an extra leg, added, you know, an extra body. Starting 11, Kepa, look, people are going to get at Kepa, like they did at Lunin, and like they did at Kepa against Atletico. The first goal, I think Kepa should do better, but the second goal, what is he meant to do? That's a worldie, that's an absolute worldie. Carvajal's got the winning goal, nothing much to complain. Mendy, poor. Fran Garcia came on and showed that he is probably the main man in terms of a game where you need to get at the opponent and get at a low block. Of course, they started with a 5-4-1. And before, after I talk about the Real Madrid team, I'll talk about Almería as well. Centre backs, Nacho, poor, absolutely, costed us the 2 goals, brought off at 45 minutes. Rudiger, probably one of the better players. The midfield, Valverde didn't look quite at it. Cruz, had, I think, 2 shots in the first 45 minutes, I'm going to say it was. Over the bar. Tchouaméni, now this was something that I disagreed with the ESPN commentator. I forgot his name was Alex something. He said that Real Madrid didn't need to play Tchouaméni. They didn't need a defensive midfielder. Instead, probably someone like a Modric or Ceballos. But you look at the 2 goals, and you look at the chances. If there wasn't Tchouaméni, we would concede 3 or 4. Like, let's be honest. Tchouaméni is needed for the span of the team. He needs to be there. It doesn't matter if we have Rudiger or even Nacho. You need Tchouaméni. You can't say, oh, we don't need Tchouaméni because we have two centre backs in, behind him. Absolute nonsense. Because after Nacho came off and Tchouaméni at centre back, we looked better with Tchouaméni at centre back. Bellingham scored the penalty. Was the player in there who was motivational? You saw, I think it was the 96th minute, when a shot from Ceballos went wide or something. He was cheering the team on, saying, calm down, calm down. Of course, got a yellow card, misses the next game. Like I said, he needs the rest. Front two, Vinicius scored the goal. I thought played pretty decent, not, anything exceptional. And Rodrigo, headless chicken, didn't know what he was doing. Probably great that he came off at halftime. And then I already talked about the subs. Quickly, a bit on Almería. There were a few hard done by, obviously, their coach Gaisca Garitano got 2 yellow cards and a sending off, of course. But they looked very good. I mean, they maintained their shit really well. I thought they were hard to break down for the first 45-60 minutes before we scored, and they looked very well. Ramazani, obviously, he scored against us last season. Robert 1, as I like to call him. The engine in the midfield. Arribas got a goal technically. Ex-Real Madrid prodigy. Good to see him get the applaud when he came off. The back five was solid. It was tough to play against. And the subs didn't really do much, really. But Almería were good. And they should have won. But Real Madrid find a way somehow. As of recording, Barcelona are playing Real Betis, so I have no idea what the result is. Right now it's 2-0. Girona will play Sevilla, and I know it's not La Liga related, I know it's not Real Madrid related, but Bayern Munich lost 1 with the Werder Bremen. So, if you're a fan of the Bundesliga, a bit of a interesting title race there. Of course, they've got a game still in hand on by Leverkusen, but even if they win, they'll be 4 points off, and obviously they have to go away to Leverkusen soon. It is on the 11th of Feb. You know what's going on the 11th of Feb as well? Can I just say? Right, Real Madrid will play, if I'm not wrong, Girona. I hope I'm not getting that wrong. It is. Well, technically the 10th of Feb for you guys. But on the 10th of Feb, Bayern Leverkusen, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Girona. 2 very, very big title race games on the 10th of Feb. Can't wait for that. But Real Madrid somehow again find a way past, as we'll be back in 5 days time for Las Palmas away. But I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Hit the bell, subscribe to James on already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.